Big game coverage live from Glendale, Arizona. Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Texas Cheer, and by 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back to the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Minix. We know this is certainly cowboy country, but congratulations. Washington head coach Ron Rivera joining us now. We'll talk some Cowboys, but you're wearing a USA shirt. Big honor that you received from them.
Yes, I did. I'm this year's recipient of the Salute to Service Award, sponsored by USAA. To me, it's really an honor, mostly because my father served in the military for 32 years, and I've been a USAA member since 1986. I inherited it from my dad, so this is a big deal. It really is. Big part of it is, too, because I grew up in a military family. And when you grow up on Army bases throughout the United States and the world, you have a fond appreciation of the men and women who make the commitment and sacrifice for the country, and in some instances make the ultimate sacrifice. And so I just really truly feel and believe that we need and we should give back to our military community.
You know, and Coach, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. You've done a lot for the military community as the head coach of the Washington Commanders. Just kind of tell us some of the things that you do and want to continue to do for the military folks.
Well, Stephanie and I, my wife and I, have been involved with the USO for a long time. When we were in Carolina, it was the one of the three charities that we chose. When we got there, Stephanie talked about making sure that we choose the right charities to get involved with, to lend our name and our likeness and to get involved. And one of them was the USO. We did the Ronald McDonald House as well and the Humane Society. And so giving back to those three charities was very important. But giving back to USO meant an awful lot because of the military. We've done that. One thing that we did, and we started it in our place here in D.C., is we working with canines for warriors. And the idea there is to find service dogs and that are suitable, and we suit them to a wounded warrior and have them as a support dog for them. And we've gotten involved with that group. We've gotten involved with Bridge Homes in Carolina when I was with them. Another one of the many charities that we've been involved with. It's just a big part of what we do. I believe we do it as a team as well. So what we do also is when we welcome the military at practice during training camp, we welcome the military during a Salute to Service Week, where we'll bring families of the fallen and we'll recognize them and spend some time with them. And it's not just a gratuitous thing, but we bring them in, we honor them during a practice day, then we honor them at the stadium as well.
Ron Rivera joining us here on the Blitz, here in Phoenix on Radio Row. Think about three teams from the NFC East make the playoffs this year. Going in, I don't think many of us saw that. What was different about the division this year?
Well, the biggest thing, and you look at it, it's about identifying who has quarterbacks. I mean, this league is a quarterback-driven league. If you have a quarterback, a guy that stays upright and can be consistent for you, gives you a chance to win. And the other three teams in our division that made it, that's the one position they had that was consistent for them all year. They had good play in Dallas, even though Dak's missed 3 games. They still have 4 games. They had good quarterback play. Jalen Hurts has been as consistent as anybody has been in the last couple of years, And then Daniel Jones really took the next step in his career, as a quarterback, being there for 4 seasons, And for us, we're still going through our struggles trying to find that right guy.
How difficult is it as a head coach to try and find that right guy? And when you do, if that guy gets hurt and you have to adjust everything, is it a mental big problem that you have to face when something like that happens?
It is, because again, for the most part, you build your offense around who that guy is and that guy's skill set. And one of the things that you want to be able to do, though, is not just necessarily rely on him all the time, but just have consistent play. We relied on the running game a lot this year, which really helped us. But the thing that we've got to do is we've got to be able to create more explosive plays with our other skilled players. We've got to get the ball in guys' hands quickly and give them opportunities to go out and create and make things happen.
Take us inside. We're a Cowboys affiliate. We're a Cowboys country. So you're kind of the enemy, on Sundays when it comes to that. What's it like being a part of the Cowboys, I almost said Redskins, the Cowboys-Washington rivalry?
It's been tremendous. It really has, because it's one of the great rivalries in professional football. It really is. When you talk about rivalries, people talk about, Green Bay, Chicago, okay? That's one that always seems to come up. Kansas City, Oakland's another one always seems to come up. But the one that always seems to remind everybody of the true rivalry has been Dallas, Washington.
You know, when you look at that, Coach, we got to ask you, because we are a little bit bitter about what you guys did to the Cowboys in that final regular season game. How did you make those guys look so bad?
Well, I think one of the big things was wasn't necessarily just what the Cowboys did or didn't do, but as much as the way our guys came out. You know, one of the things that we talked about was finishing on a strong note. You know, we were in the playoff hunt. If we beat Cleveland the week before, then we're playing Dallas for a playoff spot, and unfortunately we lose to Cleveland. And everybody goes, well, they don't have anything to play for. Well, our guys had a lot of pride to play for, and that's what we were going to come out. We were going to play our best football and give these guys a challenge. We weren't just going to roll over. So our guys came out, and they were very competitive.
Ron Rivera joining us here on the Blitz 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. What day-to-day head coaching stuff, not to make this seemingly all about like Dallas-type questions, but Mike McCarthy is going to take over play calling. What's it like being a head coach and then having the responsibilities of play calling? Take us through, for those of us that have no idea what you guys really do, through what you guys really do.
Well, the basic thing and the hard thing will be for Mike is, you know, because I did it when I was calling plays at one time a couple of years back in Carolina, is that, you know, your focus is split between what's going on with the team and now preparing a game plan for half the team. In other words, if you're a defensive guy, your focus is just defense. You're an offensive guy, it's just offense. And that's what you're talking about now, is his focus will be from being involved with all the aspects of the team to now I'm focused just on what happens offensively. So it's going to be divided a little bit. What happens for those of us that don't call now, like I don't call anymore, I'm more of a manager. I manage what's happening between all three phases of our team. And one of the things that I've done too is, like, if I've ever had to, you know, like when my mother got sick, I had to leave for a couple of days. Instead of giving it to one of my coordinators to handle, I gave it to another coach to say, hey, you handle this aspect of the team for us, because I want the coordinators to stay focused on just their side of the ball.
You know, when you talk about coaches in the NFL, Ron, you talk about, I mean, they're celebrities. A lot of them are. You've got the name Riverboat Ron. Who gave that to you? I've never heard that story.
Okay, so what happened was, after my second season in Carolina, you know, where we were still growing, developing, we had a real good finish to our year. So going into 2013, you know, we just needed a little more to get over the hump. And so we started playing, and we lost a couple games by 3 points or less. I'm thinking to myself, God, what can we do? Well, the big thing was to be a little more risky. Take a couple fourth downs instead of punting on 4th and 1. It was now, hey, let's just go ahead and let's go for it and see what happens. Well, we open up against, we're playing Minnesota, and it's week 5. And we go for it on 4th down twice in the first series to score a touchdown. We get the ball again, we go for it on 4th down again, score another touchdown. And then it's just kind of escalating from there. Well, some fan, some reporter basically said, well, Ron Rivera's out there making decisions like a riverboat gambler. And then some fan took that idea and superimposed my face on the picture of what is supposed to be a riverboat gambler. Well, he puts it on social media. My daughter captures that, and she thinks it's cool. So now she posts it. Well, the media types, they followed her, you know, looking for information. And so I'm doing my press conference on Wednesday afternoon. And I get the question, hey, what do you think about that Riverboat Ron nickname somebody gave you? I said, what's that? I said, I don't understand what you're talking about, because I had no idea. He said, well, somebody came out and said, hey, you're making decisions on 4th down like a riverboat gambler. And so somebody has dubbed you Riverboat Ron. I said, really? He said, oh, yeah, even your daughter has. And they pull their phone out, and one of them pulls it up and says, see, look. So, of course, my daughter, she's a junior at UCLA. I call her mother right away. Stephanie, what was the rule we talked about with the kids? You need to call your daughter and get that straight. So she had to take it out for sight. But it's kind of come out and it's stuck. And it's not necessarily gambling as much as it's, to me, it's really taking an analytical approach to certain situations. You know, there's a couple areas we call sweet spots. And the sweet spots being somewhere around the 50s, the sweet spots being somewhere around the 20s. You know, inside the 20, because say you don't get it, well, you got them backed up. And the likelihood of somebody having to score from being backed up is a very low percentage. So you sit there and you take that into consideration. Then you got to go with your gut and your feeling. You sit there and think, well, if we do this and we get it, we gain momentum. If we do this, we lose momentum. How does that hurt us? So you have to think about all those things, and you just can't be a quote-unquote riverboat gambler.
Ron Rivera joining us here on the Blitz, head coach of the Washington football team. Coach, you used the term media types like 3 times already,
Yes.
And then fans. So it's media types. And I know you're going to say you don't read or watch anything, but you do. What's the one thing you hear from the media types that you go, these idiots, man, if they only knew?
I hate predictions. I don't think predictions are fair. I don't think they're right unless you're going to sit there and say, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no accountability. It's easy to make a prediction. Do the work, okay? Give the reason why. Don't just sit there and say something's going to happen or anything like that. That drives me nuts. It really does. And for the most part, I really don't pay attention to it. My wife is the one that will call me, and she'll say, I think you need to look at this. I really do. I'm going to prove it to you. Stephanie, come here. Come real quick. Okay.
All right, come on. Yep.
All right, so we're talking about, whether or not I pay attention a lot to the media, or what do you do?
No, I usually am the person that looks at all the media and lets them know when they get it wrong.
All right, so I'll ask you what I asked him. When you think about the media types, the stuff that you hear that drives him nuts, since he doesn't see it, you do, how does he react to it? What drives him nuts from us media types?
Well, just putting out wrong facts. So I'm like, I'm kind of like the fact checker. Since I know what's going on, I'll say, hey, they're getting it wrong. So he'll go in his next press conference and fix it.
So what's it like being a head football coach's wife?
It's busy, but I mean, it's great because of all the charity work we get to do, which is really exciting.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Salute to Service Award winner from USA, which is incredible. Ron Rivera, head football coach from Washington. Appreciate you taking the time.
No, I appreciate it. I really do. And I appreciate the folks in San Antonio, because I know that's the home and the headquarters of USAA, which I have been to.